have to say Karan because like Kalhona Ho, all those are like
Yeah.
that's like what I that to me is still Bollywood. I know it's evolved and changed so much and there's so many different things and all of that stuff. But when you're young and you watch something like it affects you the most and like K3G and Kalhona Ho, I mean I can't tell you how many times I have watched those movies. Something like super speed, like the Flash almost, so that because he's
Okay.
probably been stuck in traffic so many times that he has to basically just like run to destiny, maybe teleportation. Poor guy. Like, it's like he needs to get out from behind the wheel. Just went to see Diljit Dosanjh in LA. I'm just gonna say Lover, maybe. I'm trying to imagine like yeah,
That'd be
maybe
cool.
like a pure Bhangra Punjabi song. Why not that? Like, just
Yeah.
something that's really
Hi, Karan. I'm Kartik from the New Indian Express.
hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Karan. I think we should, like, I recently saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I
Uh-huh.
enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it to bits.
Oh, good.
I want to start off with this. Like, this is like the third time you are collaborating with Ryan Reynolds. Uh,
Mhm.
how has your relationship, like, over the years evolved?
Yeah, that's such a good question. It's only gotten stronger really after the first movie because when we made the first movie, many people don't realize, it was not a movie that many people were like rooting for in many ways. It was like this smaller movie, smaller
Yes.
budget, and even the studio kind of like was ignoring it a little bit. But we all really felt when we were making it that it was really special and we put a lot of hard work into it. And so I think anyone who worked in that movie, Ryan feels very, I think, bonded with because, he was trying to, in many ways, his career was in a different place when we were doing that one. And he talked a little bit about that with me too. And he was basically like putting all his eggs in this basket. And basically, now we're so used to him marketing and doing all these things. But Deadpool 1 was the first time, he was in the editing room so much. He designed the marketing for the movie. Like he put everything into it. And so I think anyone who worked on that and he saw you working hard on that one to help make it special, I think feels kind of bonded. And then I think, anytime you're making something and you don't think it's going to be successful the way it is, you always have this bond of like, can you believe it? Like when you see them again, you're like, we're here now. And especially with Deadpool and Wolverine, I really felt that at the premiere on Monday. It's such a big movie and there's so much in it and it's so epic and we could have never imagined, I couldn't have, doing the first Deadpool, that like many years later, like, it would be this movie. Like it's such an epic movie. And so I think we always have that kind of bond, anyone from the first movie, that we feel like, how did we end up doing this? This is crazy.
So this was the first time you are also collaborating with Hugh Jackman. How would you describe that experience?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, this movie was so secretive. I didn't get even the script or anything. And then the sides, which is the scenes that you get in the day, like they give them to you in the morning and then they take them at the end of the day. So I have this scene with him right at the end. I won't spoil. And then I didn't know that I was gonna have anything with him. And then I just remember seeing him walk on the set and it's the same experience I had when I first saw Ryan walk on the set, which they just have a movie star quality. Like it is just hard to describe, but when a movie star walks in a room, you just kind of stare at them and you're just like, that's a star. And like they're so charming and he was so kind. He like said hi to all of us because the scene, we were all from the original movies, were in the scene with him. He was so kind. He like complimented our performances from the other movies and he is famously known to be like a nice guy, and that's essentially what it was. Like he
Yeah.
was just very kind.
So I was rewatching Deadpool 1 and then 2 before this interview, and it just like struck me like if Dopinder had to have a superpower apart from courage, what would it
Mm.
be?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I think it has to be like something like super speed, like the Flash almost, so that because he's
Okay.
probably been stuck in traffic so many times that he has to basically just like run to destiny, maybe teleportation. Poor guy. Like, it's like he needs to get out from behind the wheel. So something where he can get from point A to point B really fast. That would be nice.
But then he'll have to like leave the taxi. Then he won't be the taxi driver. Like
He
he'll
can
just
do
have to
the
run.
Clark Kent thing, right? He can be like Superman working at the newspaper. That'll be his day job. But then when he needs to do some like, murdering at night, he can just like use his powers.
Okay, if how Deadpool and Wolverine are a team, if there has to be another two superheroes which can make a formidable team, which two would it be? Like in your opinion?
Well, I have to pair someone like Deadpool with someone else because, he to me has to be in any team because he's so funny. But I would say Deadpool and Spider-Man. And they
Okay.
have like a relationship in the comics that is very funny. But I think some version of Ryan and Tom Holland seems really exciting to me. And then, this might just explode the screen. So I don't know. But in my other dream world, Iron Man and Deadpool, and just
Okay.
with Robert and Ryan, I can't even imagine like how we would even process
Too,
how
too
quickly.
sarcastic energies also like would be
Too
there.
much,
Like
yeah,
always
but
come up. Yeah.
sure. I mean, those are the two that come to my mind.
If like since you mentioned Spider-Man, I remembered as a child, Pavitra Prabhakar, the comics, like when Spider-Man India came, it used to be
Yeah,
my favorite thing as a child. When I saw it, I was like, oh,
yeah,
finally. Okay,
yeah.
so I just wanted to know, like, as a child, who was your favorite superhero?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So Spider-Man was one of my favorites, and then weirdly Iron Man, just because I remember once we went to some store or something, and there was an Iron Man comic, and my mom just bought it for me, so I would read it over and over again. But Spider-Man was the one because the first Spider-Man two movies, I was still in India, and we went to see them when I was growing up. So the Tobey Maguire movies, like that, meant the most to me. Um, and so those were kind of maybe the two that were like the biggest thing. And then all these years later, getting to voice Pavitra in the movie, I kind of had forgotten because now there's so many other characters, like how much the character means to people. And then when that movie came out last year, it was kind of really crazy to see like how
Yeah.
the character is so beloved still, and by young people, like kids still. And
Yes.
playing that character, even the voice version, it was so fun. And I think what it is, and I've thought a lot about it, is that he really feels the most like he could be one of us, like he could be you.
Yeah.
And there's just something very special about that. It just makes, as the reader, the wish fulfillment of these movies, which is like maybe one day, my life is not going that well, something could happen, and I could be this person who's called to have this responsibility or whatever. And I think that character, it has kind of the most of it in many ways. You almost feel like he's your friend, or he's someone. So yeah, I feel so. It's so crazy to me to think that I got to voice that. But that's so cool that you like the comic. I wasn't aware of those comics for his
Yeah.
character as much. And I remember when I auditioned for the movie for Spider-Verse, they just gave us a monologue from the first movie, and we didn't know what role or what it was going to be. And then when I got it, they were like, "Oh, it's for Spider-Man India," and I was like, "There's a Spider-Man India," and I like Googled it, and I was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea." And then obviously we got to do our own version of that for the movie, but yeah, I love that he's having a now so many more people know about that here.
So there are a lot of Hindi songs in Deadpool in one and two. I just wanted to know if Deadpool was doing an action sequence, which Hindi song would play in the background?
Oh my God. Just because I just went to see Diljit Dosanjh in LA, I'm just gonna say Lover, maybe. I'm trying to imagine like
And
yeah,
that'd be
maybe
good.
like a pure Bhangra Punjabi song. Why not that? Like, just
Yeah.
something that's really yeah, something like that. Why not? Yeah.
So Ryan actually mentioned once that he wants to make an indie road film with you
Mhm.
and him. So I just like, is it going to be an 8 to 4 film? Like how is it going to be? Like
Yeah, he had talked about this actually a little bit when we had done Deadpool 2, because what had happened was we were doing Deadpool 2 and it was a much bigger budget than the first one. And I think even though the first one was like, big budget movie, not indie movie, I think he was a little bit like, there's a lot of things that you have to check off when you have like a bigger budget, like bigger action, like all this stuff, whatever, and it becomes like, a bigger thing, which is great. But I think he was craving a little bit like just kind of a movie where it's just talking in many ways, and we don't have to have these like crazy sequences or whatever. And I was like, that sounds amazing to me. And then I think the other thing was, if you have a smaller budget, you don't have to do as many studio notes and check as many of those boxes. You can kind of get away with even more kind of weird stuff. And so I think that's where that was coming from. But listen, his brain is so incredible, and he just is so smart with all that stuff. I will go do whatever with him, whether it's Deadpool or not or whatever. Anything he wants. I think you don't want to bet against Ryan. He's very smart and knows this world better than anyone. So yeah, I hope one day something like that, whether it's a Deadpool movie or something else, where we get to just act in that way again. That would be amazing.
What will be the future of Dopinder for the franchise? Is he going to become finally a superhero, or will he become a contract killer? Like,
You
what
know,
is
I
it?
have no, I have no idea. I have no idea. I think so much
Okay.
of the that stuff is completely out of my my responsibility. I just go where they tell me to go. But yeah, my dream future is that, in this movie, obviously, Deadpool got to enter the sacred timeline in a lot of the
Yeah.
Marvel MCU world.
Yes.
I think it'd be cool if in the next one, all of us could now be a part of that in a bigger way and enter and like see what that is or whatever. And that would be my kind of dream. But yeah, I mean, it's just an exciting chapter because, now the door is open for whatever they want to do, whether we stay in our thing or go over there. But yeah, I don't know anything about any of that. And it's probably good I don't know, because I'll probably just tell everyone. So they shouldn't tell me.
One final question, Karan. I want to know, like, if you had to work with an with a Hindi film director, who
Mm.
would you work with? Like, is
Oh,
there any
that's
favorite?
such a good question. Well, I mostly grew up with YRF and Dharma movies, so both Aditya Chopra and Karan come to mind. But I would say, I guess I have to say Karan, because like Kal Ho Na Ho, all those are like
Yeah.
that's like that to me is still Bollywood. I know it's evolved and changed so much, and there's so many different things and all of that stuff. But when you're young and you watch something, like it affects you the most, and like K3G and Kal Ho Na Ho, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have watched those
Yes.
movies. And to me, that still represents all that stuff. So I would have to say maybe Karan in that sense. And also, like, in terms of just pure genre, like that big masala Bollywood movie, I've never done here. And I don't think
Yeah.
Bollywood knows. The closest I think was Barbie a little bit when they broke
Yeah.
into dance. It
Yeah.
tried a little bit for a little bit, but that masala style of like all of that stuff to me is so cool. And I think he is some of the best to do that. So I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to me, Karan. Best of luck
Thank you.
for
Thank you. So
Deadpool and
nice to meet
Wolverine.
you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you.